Welcome in Sunday Night Roundtable, brought to you by BroadwaySportsMedia.com. Come check us out, grab a premium membership, because you're going to want to read about the Tennessee Titans, who are not going to go 9-7 this year. They're not going to do it. You know why? Because it's finally fucking time that this team got over the hill for the first time since 2008. The Tennessee Titans are over 10 wins with a 46-25 absolute ass kicking of the Detroit Lions. So let's get into it. We're going to start happy. We have a festive border that you can see around our lovely faces. I've already given Ryan shit about his festive coffee cup because he thought we cared, but we don't. So let's get into it. Titans cap off a great win. I'm going to start with one of the best parts of the game. Derrick Henry throwing stiff arms like a man throwing punches. It was gross. I rewound it multiple times to watch it.
It was an amazing stiff arm. Now, there's more intensity and ferocity with this stiff arm than there was with the Josh Norman one, but I did find the Josh Norman one way funnier. But I did laugh out loud like jolly old Santa Claus because it was hilarious when it happened. Like I was watching it and then it happened and I go, oh. I mean, just like Santa Claus. Like it was just like this guttural feeling about it.
I scared my brother. I reacted so loudly to it. I mean, he was pissed off that dude was in his way. Oh, you practice team scrub. Get out of my way. I mean, he was pissed off that he was trying to tackle him. It was great.
The sound was glorious. Yeah. He must have contacted a pad or something because it had this pop, and then someone in the stands really next to a microphone was, ooh, it was beautiful.
Yeah. It reminded me of that meme of the GIF of the guy, all the guys like after the burn, they're like, oh, yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
I've got a challenge for everyone watching. When you're watching the Titans game, just after the play, just look at the Titans sideline. If it's in the background, find Darren Bates. Just find him and watch him. It is classic. It's fantastic to watch. It's almost better than what's happening on the field. His reaction to these plays, it's great. Go find him.
Well, Tennessee got it done. Derrick Henry, speaking of which, 1 touchdown, 147 yards, just a handful of yards shy of being on pace for 2,000. I was actually kind of glad to see them give him a little bit of rest and get Evans worked into late game, which we'll get into. But Ryan Tannehill, 273 yards passing on the day, 3 touchdowns, 2 of which came on his own legs. I actually bet that he was going to score 1 touchdown. I was happy to see that he ripped off 2, but that diving score that he made for his first rushing touchdown, like, get the hell out of here. What passion. And to be able to turn the corner and hit the pylon, just beautiful.
It looked so much like the touchdown he scored against Jacksonville last year. Same length, 17 yards, and just reaching out to make sure you cross it. What a play. I mean, this guy plays with so much heart every single week. How can you not love what Ryan Tannehill brings to this team? And he's over 30 touchdowns on the season now at 31 passing touchdowns, 2 more rushing touchdowns today. Just an all-around great leader for the team. I mean, Henry and Tannehill in that backfield. Whew.
Well said.
He just needs 90 more yards, Ryan Tannehill does, to pass Matt Hasselbeck as the single-season quarterback leader for passing yards for the Titans. I mean, elite Matt Hasselbeck. So if he's on the verge of doing that with 2 games left, we have to put him in conversation as, and I will say it again, I'll say it on every freaking podcast, that Ryan Tannehill is the best Titans quarterback we have had here in Tennessee.
And we've gotten into this before because I'm not ready to put him over McNair just yet, but based on exactly what you're talking about with yardage and passing, and especially in the last 10 years, the man is just out of control good. And it's so good to see. It's such a refreshing thing to see. I unfortunately bet the under on Corey Davis receiving yardage. Very stupid mistake on my part because Corey Davis had himself another large penis energy day. And
did he get that over on one play?
What's that?
Did he get that over on 1 play?
Yeah, it did. Destroyed. I bet under 68 yards. Yeah, he just, you know what? I didn't care. I was happy to lose that bet because the man got it done. But Corey Davis, the man deserves to be paid, and he's going to get paid. I hope it's with the Titans.
Yeah, that stem at the top of the route too on that post corner for that 75-yard bomb was just a thing of beauty. He gets right on the feet of that safety and makes him turn. As soon as he sees him flip his hips, he breaks it back to the outside, keeps it skinny to keep the defender off the sideline. So Tannehill has a window to throw in, just makes him even more wide open, and then he's out for the score. And not to mention what he does at the top of that run by throwing the defender off of him to the ground and then being able to go back inside him on a juke. It was fantastic effort by him.
It's only going to be 55 yards until Corey Davis gets 1,000, and I totally stole that from Justin as he put it in the chat, and I think he was about to say it. But I want to talk about whether we're going to bring Corey back or not, or we're going to see him in a Titans uniform again. I have this sneaking suspicion. I had this sneaking suspicion when it came down to the tag deadline. And I know that everybody wanted to say that $13 million was going to be too much to tag, or I think it was $16 million was going to be too much to tag Corey Davis and blah, 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 blah. $16 million is looking pretty good if for a healthy Corey Davis. And I'm going to say that I felt that they should have tagged both Adoree and Corey, because when you look at it, and I said this on our podcast before, you're getting Adoree for $9 million and you're getting Corey for $16 million. You know, if you flip those, it looks pretty good either way, right? I mean, like, wouldn't you think that Adoree's worth $16 million when he's healthy, especially after what he was able to do today? But to me, it looks like both of them would have been cheap combined, and I feel like, you know, I understand where they're coming from, but I also think that I think we're going to miss out and not going to have Corey next year. But luckily, there are some wide receivers in the draft that could maybe fill those shoes.
I mean, Titans with Corey Davis, he's become such a huge asset on offense that the offense is covering up for the deficiencies of the defense, which we're going to get into in a minute. And Corey Davis is such a big part of that. So I'm almost starting to get on the bandwagon of find a way to pay this man what he needs to be paid to get him to stay, because the combination of him and AJ and then Henry in the backfield, it's almost too good to pass up.
Corey, sorry, it's not just Corey out in routes. I'm sorry, Justin. It's also the blocking. It's always been there, but the way that they use him in this offense at times, and I said on the halftime show, bringing him into the box, he's almost like this extra tight end that they can use in the run game with how well he blocks. So not that itself earns a contract, but when he's catching balls like this and doing like what he's doing in the receiving game, it's almost a no-brainer for me to try to do anything you can within reason to bring him back.
And commenting on what Trey said in the chat, how much is chemistry between a wide receiver and a QB worth? Like, yeah, you can go draft a talented young guy who then has to get up to speed at the NFL level, and you hope you don't have a situation with, this is the extreme, but Isaiah Wilson, who they thought, by all accounts, was a great character and blah, 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 blah. We've seen what's happened with him. So you roll the dice with a situation like that if you're going to draft someone, even if you sign someone who's been productive elsewhere. Like, we've seen free agents come from other teams, change teams, and not be productive with their new team. So for me, I agree. You make Corey Davis a priority this offseason, maybe even the top free agent priority. I mean, how long has Jayon Brown been out for a few games now? Titans defense, David Long has been a pretty good replacement there. I'm not sure that that's where the money needs to go. Obviously, you got cornerbacks like Desmond King up as well, but I don't know. I think right now you need Corey Davis back on this roster. The yards after catch, you mentioned his blocking. I mean, he's just... His longest catch of his career today ruined your bet, Michael, with the 75-yard touchdown. But, I mean, that's like the one thing that I always thought Corey Davis could do coming into the league was burn people deep and make those big plays. And he's never really been used in that, like, go route capacity. The only other time I can even think of it was the Eagles game when Marcus hit him on a deep play. But if he can continue playing like this, I mean, the consistency is an issue. It feels like him and AJ trade games. But for the offense, like, as long as the offense is consistent, that's why you have two good receivers, and that's why you need both of them.
And I'll say this, looking at it, I mean, when you look at what everybody's going to get paid, Jayon technically will probably get paid around $9 to $10 million per year. Some people think that he'll get up to 11. For an inside linebacker, I'm not sure with David Long back there that's worth that, but the biggest thing to do, if you want to keep Corey Davis, the biggest thing to do is to cut hump and use that money to work out a contract, because we have cap space. We have flexible enough cap space heading into next year that we can work some magic and get Jonnu Smith, who we haven't even talked about, and how he had ridiculous catches and everything today, and he's a part of the blocking. I think people underestimate how much the blocking by Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith really helps this team out, especially with Taylor Lewan gone. And I will also say this to the chemistry point. We have a quarterback who will spend in a non-COVID offseason time with the wide receivers to develop chemistry. We haven't ever had that before. So I'm not too worried about people building chemistry. I'm more worried about putting a rookie wide receiver in and getting the physical nitty-gritty in the trenches kind of stuff that you get from Corey Davis on top of his athletic ability.
Plus, if you sign Corey Davis and you eliminate that, it allows you to then go and draft all the edges in one of them. Go get every edge position player and just figure out who can play.
Wonderful segue, because that's where I'm going with this next, with defense. I have such mixed feelings about the defensive effort that we got today. The Titans got trashed multiple times on third downs, long drives, but then came up with goal line stands that turned into fumbles, a late game interception. Special teams had a couple of good plays. I don't know what to think. I tweeted at one point that the Titans offense versus the Titans defense is like owning a Lamborghini that just blasts hot parts in your face out of the AC unit. And I still stand by that. You can roll down the windows and enjoy this car, but it's nonstop and it's in your face. So did the Titans defense play well today or not? Just someone answer that for me.
I think coverage played well, but our coverage can only do so much when you're not getting any pressure. And the one sack that came from Tierra Tart ended up not being a sack because it counted because the center is counted as the guy fumbling the ball. So when the ball was on the ground and Stafford picked it up, I guess it's considered a live ball and he's a runner, even though he can throw it. But I guess that's why they don't call it a sack. I think it's very ticky-tacky, but apparently it's not a sack. And and I saw a guy that lost a bet because it wasn't a sack, so I feel very bad for him.
Sorry, Tyler.
That's throw your TV in the street, mad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, I feel that towards the end they were getting pressure, but I mean, I don't know why we didn't see the Tennessee Titans get more pressure up the middle with no Frank Ragnow. I don't understand what's going on. I'll defer to the technical aspects to Ryan on that. But this is a place that lacks pass rush. That is the problem with this team. It's been the problem all year. And Mike and a bunch of people have always told us that once Adoree comes back, we'll be able to do more with the pass rush and blah blah blah. And Adoree played a lot in this game, and like I said, I was very skeptical that it worked. Maybe he gets maybe he gets healthier, and that's more impact is on the way. But you're going up against the Green Bay next, and they have a really good offensive line. I'm not holding my breath that this pass rush and this sacking disaster is going to get any better at this point.
Yeah, Adoree was back and played well, but Ty Smith is still out there. So, I mean, you can't take a whole lot of chances. I wish they would, but it's kind of tough to do that when you've got that. And when Kaluga was in the game, when Hooker had to come out, he got burnt so bad on that play. Just Stafford didn't have enough time to get it to him. And here's the thing. You asked me technical details, what's going on in the pass rush. It's been a while since I've done the all-22 for defense, thank God. I switched over to offense a few weeks ago, and it's been much happier times for me. But when I was watching it and when I watch it live, it's the same thing. The Titans pass rush, pretty much the edge rushers, the defense tackles, they have one move, and they go to that one move. And when it stopped, they have nothing. They don't get back into it. There's no rolls. There's no spin. There's no nothing. It's just they get caught up, and it's so easy when you do that as an offensive lineman. When you have that one move and it stops, then you can hold and get away with it because they're not doing anything else. They're not making it difficult on you to try to move your feet and rework. And they don't have this super technical guy on the outside. Look, I like the athletes. I like the athletic potential maybe that they have out there because they do have, and Landry, flashes at times, but there's just not that second move off thing, and that's what they really need to put pressure on these offensive linemen and to maybe force a holding call, because I saw holding calls all over the play, but they're not doing themselves any favor by breaking free and making it obvious.
Well, they're not going to call holding this year. That's just the way the NFL wants to
right,
conduct
especially
it.
in this year.
And
yeah, but if you spin away, the guy's holding you like this is your spinning. I hope to God they'd call that. You're not seeing that kind of effort, and even when you do, they're rushing upfield and getting out of the lanes. What you saw when Stafford was able to get out of the pocket and scramble. I mean, just that kind of stuff is just absolutely maddening.
But that means they were in man coverage on that play, which we haven't seen a whole great big lot of this year, and I think that has to do with Adoree being out there. I'm curious to get the snap counts on this game because I don't think Adoree played more than 50% of the snaps. I'd be surprised if he was out there for that many. So we'll have to go back and look at that. But I do think the coverage, I mean, you guys talked about this at halftime. The coverage was pretty good all day. It was just Stafford standing in the pocket, batting the ball, tapping the ball, got forever to find somebody. And then there were a few times where the pressure came late and forced the throwaway, and that's how they got off the field on a few of those third downs. But they didn't get off the field on enough of those third downs. This was one of those games almost like we saw early in the season where the defense gets just manhandled all the way down the field, and then a fluky turnover, like you mentioned, or a goal line stand allows them to make the stop that they need. But that kind of like, it's not, you can't rely on you can't sustain that kind of play. You can't count on getting fluky turnovers at the goal line, even if the Titans do have one of the best goal line defenses maybe in all of football.
Titans, and you're exactly right to where complete zero pressure on the quarterback is making the secondary look much worse. It's not helping things at all. I saw someone tweet out earlier that the Detroit Lions had time to complete their coaching search by the time that Stafford would throw the ball. It's pathetic. The Titans, I know it's not going to happen. The pass rush is not going to change, but they've got to get a little more pressure than they're getting, something, because they've got to do what they can to try to help out protecting against wide receivers. But I don't know. I mean, again, the Titans defense, it was very bad at times today and then stepped up when they needed to. And I was very glad to see that they didn't let down their guard and blow a game that they absolutely should have won. And the difference maker should have been, Stafford in this, and ended up really not being. So, good to see. I will quickly throw out that, unfortunately, as you know, in the AFC South, no one's going to do you any favors. And certainly the Texans did themselves no favors, or us today at all. Again, the Texans fumbled the ball on the last drive, this one on the 1 yard line, if I'm not mistaken. The Colts get the win, remain tied with Tennessee, first in the division, but Titans have the tiebreaker. So the Titans still control their own destiny. But I'm tired of these horseshoe assholes. Like, what just lose a game.
I mean, they play the Steelers next, and that's the game they got to lose, but we play the Packers next. I mean, you see the Tennessee Titans are going to play the Packers, and I know that I guess all Titans fans watched their first Packers game yesterday on Saturday, because now I've seen way too many takes of Titans fans that say, oh, well, we can see that the Titans are going to beat the Green Bay Packers, and this will be easy. Like, this will be nothing. Like, I know you watch one game and you think that that's how it is, but let me tell you this, that you can't base it off one game. And I think it's ridiculous that people are all of a sudden going to underestimate the Green Bay Packers when Aaron Rodgers is still the quarterback and Davante Adams is still the wide receiver. And I understand that, Adorie's back. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make against Davante Adams, because Davante Adams is otherworldly. Like, you're not really going to stop Davante Adams more than likely, especially if you can't get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, who also is a danger when he scrambles and runs out of the pocket. So I don't know what kind of game plan that Shane Bowen, and I'm putting the blame on Shane Bowen for any of our defensive woes any further. It doesn't really matter. He's the defensive coordinator. We just all need to recognize that. Shane Bowen needs to get his head out of his ass and scheme up some pressure. I'm tired of this bullshit that, oh, well, we can't scheme up pressure because of our defensive backs. Like, give me a fucking break about this. Just do it. You know what? Teams blitz all the time with shitty ass corners. Just fucking do it.
Yeah. Oh, are we directing somebody in? We've got a special guest joining us, if I'm not mistaken. We've got one Johnathan Boren who's coming in.
Oh God, where did I come from?
Oh wow, he looks very. I really like this.
God, where is he at?
Really nice sweater. All white walls behind you, like you've been kidnapped into a room that's just been drywalled.
I can actually one up this look if you really want that look. I can go downstairs and really drive home the Dexter I'm murdering somebody look.
I don't know what that means, and I feel like you're going to move your shirt and move rooms. All right. Our own Robert Greenlaw asks, what is Rashaan Evans' player comp from the 1 yard line? What? I'm sorry, I didn't read that right.
Brian Urlacher at the 1 yard line, outside of the 1 yard line.
Poop.
It's probably Rashaan Evans.
Oh, he's worthless in coverage. I'm sorry. He is a liability. He doesn't cover anyone, and then he gets out of position and he throws other guys off. I'm sick of seeing it. I really am.
When the Lions were running the ball, the first goal line stand the Titans almost made, and it was like first and goal and they hand it off, second and goal and they hand it off. I was like, keep running it, because if you keep running it, you will not get in the end zone. And on third and goal, they decide to throw it, and they have like bracket coverage on Marvin Jones in the back of the end zone, and like 3 guys in the area, but nobody actually covering him, give him a basically wide open touchdown. Evans was just completely out of position. Oh my gosh!
Do you realize how hard though? Like I'll give the coverage a break from the 1 yard line, and because the general idea of what you just said there is correct, because teams that run the ball are so stupid to run the ball there at the 1 yard line. Do you realize how hard it is to actually continue and have that contained coverage at the 1 yard line with such a small window? Like, it's impossible realistically to expect DBs to cover that. So teams that run it at the 1 yard line, if you don't have Derrick Henry, thanks.
Yes. There's good effort though, and there's bad effort though, and it's I know it's tough, but then he makes it look even worse. So it's just kind of disheartening to see. So maybe it is a little unfair, but it's just not good, because it does feel too. And it's just kind of, I guess I'm just conditioned to think that, oh geez, he's just covering the wrong area or he's doing the wrong thing.
Well, I mean, but on this particular play that you're talking about at the beginning, it wasn't Rashaan Evans' fault, according to the announcers. It was the cover. It was the defensive back and the safety. One of them was Kevin Byard. I don't remember which defensive back it was, but apparently they broke off the bracketing coverage. Oh, it's Desmond King. I think it was Desmond King and Kevin Byard. So it wasn't his fault on that.
And Evans was right in the middle though.
Yeah, but it wasn't his job, according to the guy that's watching the game, Adam Archuleta.
The guys who didn't realize that the fumble has happened.
I'm just saying that's what they said. So
So 2 things there. One, if you're trusting Adam Archuleta to give you a breakdown of coverage, then you're probably wrong. Bye Lebowski. All right, cool. Ryan, you're hosting now.
Yeah.
So the second part is, anytime you let any sort of receiver get a free release inside of the on goal line coverage, it's ball game. It's done. You're asking just miracles to happen at that point. So I don't know. Rashaan Evans has plenty of things we can be critical of. That one play, I don't know.
I mean, just because Adam Archuleta called Corey David at one point, don't hate on the man.
Well, so did the CBS ticker. So he probably read it off a teleprompter, because at the beginning of the game in the pregame, it said Corey David needed like so-and-so yards or something at the bottom of the CBS ticker.
Adam Archuleta and Spiro Dides are so damn bad, they need their own starting sitcom on CBS. Yahtzee, did you see that little bird? CBS with your garbage-ass shows. So anyways, Titans 2 remaining games. Packers and Texans. Packers are the big, nasty upgrade of the Lions.
Yep.
They do the things that the Lions do not do correctly on offense this year. But let's start with our offense. Can Derrick Henry move the ball against the Green Bay Packers?
Yes.
Yes,
with
easily.
Ease. That is their weakness, is the run defense. And I think that, this is going to be a really interesting matchup, because I think you can kind of throw out season-long strengths and weaknesses just because of the familiarity that Matt LaFleur is going to have with the Titans personnel, and the familiarity that Mike Vrabel is going to have with what Matt LaFleur wants to do. So, I could see Green Bay selling out to stop Derrick Henry here, and I think that could make that could change how the game unfolds for Tennessee. I don't know. I think statistically, when you look at what Green Bay's done this year, you say Henry should be able to run all over them. But because Matt LaFleur is over there, although Matt LaFleur maybe thinks that Dion Lewis is a better running back, so maybe they won't sell out to stop
I was
Henry.
about to say, I don't think that really matters, because I don't think Matt LaFleur really knows who Derrick Henry is, as we saw from his stint as offensive coordinator in 2018. And to follow up with that, and he doesn't know anything about this defense, because this is the worst defense. This is a way worse defense than what he was on staff for in 2018. I don't really buy too much into it, but I do agree that this game is going to be won through Derrick Henry on the ground. It has to be. And here's why. You got to keep Green Bay off the field, right? You got to keep this offense off the field, chew up the clock. It's a Derrick Henry game. This should be your prep for the Kansas City game that's eventually going to come down in the playoffs at some point.
Is this a Super Bowl preview?
Oh,
No, I think it's going to be Saints and Titans.
Ooh.
I don't know that I can take Saints over Green Bay, but I don't think that's a bad take. I will say this, one thing that, and I agree with you, this needs to be a preview against, Kansas City, but tackling Derrick Henry in the cold is going to be just as terrible for Green Bay. Everyone vaults Green Bay for, they got home field advantage. It's going to be cold. That works against them too in this situation with that big bastard coming through the middle.
every single play in the playoffs against Kansas City when they get there is going to be 8 seconds in the pocket for Patrick Mahomes, and then he throws an 80-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill.
Cut this man's stream off.
No. That's the entire. That is the entire.
Got him. He's got it.
Okay.
I do what you say. You said cut him off. I cut him off.
Oh, wow. That's just disrespectful. What do you
No, it's not disrespectful. You guys want to hide the truth at this point? Like, even the coaches at this point just accept it. They're not going to change anything. That just is what it is. So we're just gonna make do and trot out there. Harold Landry going 5,600 snaps a game. I started to say 56, and that was way too low, so I had to panic and go 100 on the end there. I have no anticipation that this team is going to fix the pass rush, and I'm sorry. As good as because I think the defensive backs played really well today, and you saw the result.
We have a question in the chat that says, "I love plowing my sister." Not a Folgers commercial. Please move on. How do we feel about the Titans' passing attack against Green Bay's defense?
I think it'll be fun to watch because Jair Alexander is really good, but I don't think that Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith are as good as they have been. They may be in a little bit of a slump, this pass rush, but I think this look, we are 10 times better the offense than the Carolina Panthers are, right? And the Carolina Panthers kept it relatively close and were able to put up points. But we've seen this team can put up 40 almost on any team in the NFL, or at least put up a ton of yards. So whether they need 40 or not, more than likely, but they can score against this defense. I think that A.J. Brown and Jair Alexander should be an amazing game to watch, and I hope that we get to see some good, action in between those guys. So very reminiscent Cortland Finnegan and Andre Johnson, like that kind of action.
Right. So with what the Titans are doing here on offense here recently, there's just the unbelievable balance they start runs and the play actions off of it, and really taking advantage, self-scouting to line up in the same kind of formations and run different variations of plays afterwards. I'm not so much concerned about who's going to be covering some of these guys, because the way that A.J. Brown is running his stems and running his route breaks, the fake blocking, and then running ends and Corey Davis post corners, all those kind of things, I just really don't know if it matters too much who's covering them if the Titans have their balance and they're staying ahead of the sticks and they're able to stay on schedule. Because that's when they're staying ahead of schedule, this offense is almost unstoppable. It seems like, and I wrote about it this week, it seems like the only team that can stop the Titans is the Titans themselves on offense.
Well, we got David Quisenberry trying to throw a cut box in his own end zone, and
we can get into that if you want to.
I know you mentioned that the Smith brothers, who aren't actually brothers, in Green Bay haven't been quite as good as they were last year, but I mean, that's not against David Quisenberry. So we saw a lot more Jonnu Smith chipping coming out of starting on the left side and chipping before leaking out. And I actually love what Art Smith is doing there, because he uses Jonnu to help Quessenberry on the edge and then leaves him there as like a little safety valve. And this was the most activity we've seen Jonnu get in weeks now. I think he had 4 catches for 50-something yards, and he makes 52 yards. And the one play was like a 16-yard play. It was like a dump off right over the middle, and he somehow took it and got out of bounds right before halftime. Like, I didn't think he was going to get away from that linebacker there, but then he's just, his acceleration and burst, just another guy with insane yak ability. And it's crazy how the Titans offense hasn't really like missed his non-presence the last few weeks, but then you see what he can do when he touches the ball again. And I think he could be an X factor against the Packers.
I've got some disturbing breaking news as we're sitting here talking. The Jets are up 10-0 on the Rams.
Whoa. Hey, listen, Ryan bet on this game and said, I have this weird feeling that the Jets are going to win.
Like $20 on their money line.
Cut his stream off. How could you bet against my feelings this way? You know how badly I want an 0-16 season, and you would bet against that? This is just treason. I feel like I've been stabbed in the back.
I'll say this. I think the Titans can keep up with the Packers. It's really just about slowing down the Packers and being ahead of the Packers every chance you can get. You got to be one step ahead of them.
And when it comes down to like coaching decisions that could be the difference in the game, I'm taking Mike Vrabel over Matt LaFleur.
Yeah. We've seen Matt LaFleur make some crappy in-game decisions.
And even this last
Which
game,
is kind of a weird switch, right?
What?
Well, yes,
Because this time last year with Vrabel, we were kind of like, he's making some weird decisions at times, and there was this debate about is he really making the right decisions? And now, with all the confidence in the world, I think that Mike Vrabel is going to make the right decision every time, and I'm willing to give him a few errors at this point because he's been doing so well.
I agree. And even yesterday, like Matt LaFleur in the offense, it felt like the Packers got up to 21-3 lead or something, and then just went into a shell and stopped even trying. And if they do that against Tennessee, like I could see the Titans defense getting off to a slow start on the road, Green Bay scoring 3 quick touchdowns on their terrible Titans defense. But if they go into a shell like they did against Carolina, the Titans offense can strike back quickly. So I don't think whatever the score is, the Titans will ever be out of any game against any opponent.
So I actually have an interesting take on this one because I don't think that in most games that the Titans are in a matchup situation where it's advantageous for their defense. But going into this one, Aaron Rodgers loves to throw the ball deep, and that matches up extremely well against what the Titans like to do, which literally the only thing that they try to do, the only thing they care about is do not give up the deep ball. And the fact that, because they'll give up the things underneath, I'm not sure that that's not an okay matchup for the Titans. Now, I also could see that the Packers come in and Aaron Rodgers cars them up for 500 yards. I'll text Ryan and Zach to let them know my thoughts on this since they seem very intrigued by my take on this. So it's fine. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I don't understand what this guy just tweeted towards Wes's video. The Titans 9-7 video, and he says he fixed it. I don't understand what he fixed. But that's what I was looking at.
Well, I will say I agree with you, Jonathan, that with teams, what they want to do is attack deep. Are not very good against the Titans because they're playing so often, and they want to play under, and Aaron Rodgers not wanting to do that may play to their advantage. So I kind of agree with that thought process, but Aaron Rodgers is also very good, and I see him taking advantage and seeing mismatches and being able to call some in routes to really take advantage of the soft middle of this Titans defense coverage.
I think the Titans are playing so bad on defense, it's all smoke and mirrors, so that when it gets to playoff time, they're just going to start ripping teams apart. So
maybe that's why they're not blitzing at all. You know, they're like, we don't want to put all these blitz tendencies on tape and all this stuff, so we're just going to drop 8 guys every time.
Is Clowney even hurt? They just probably stashed him away. He'll be activated in week 17. They just been getting him healthy. It's the long con. It's the long con.
I mean, that's actually possible, though.
No, it is not possible.
They talked about recently that Clowney might be ready for playoffs.
Possible. They're terrible. No, he may be ready.
I don't know if he'll be good. I'm not saying he'll be good. I'm saying he may be bad.
Somebody named Flowney and then Rick Teasley out on the field and 2 new jerseys. Like, oh, who are these pass rushers that just showed up out of nowhere?
Wearing a damn fake nose and mustache out there.
Rick Teasley.
Rick Teasley is quite the name. That's got me all giggly.
Rick Teasley needs to be a fantasy football name or possibly a fluffer for a porn. I talked a lot of porno today, and I'm very sorry about that, people. Really have a lot of sex talk. Sorry about that.
Sunday afternoons, you just never know where it's going to go.
It started with this guy saying, I love plowing my sister in the chat.
Hey, listen, it was way worse his first go around. I will not say what he said. I'll tell you guys off air, but it was way worse the first go around. And people voted. And people voted not sure if it looked all right or not. And let me tell you, I am sure it's not all right.
Oh my God.
All right, you see it up on screen, shop.broadwaysportsmedia.com. Come check out some new styles we got. He's got one on right there, Justin, rocking it. He's got, you're over there covering up your hat. What do we sell that on our site? Do we sell the Christmas hat
with beer? We do not. Okay. We could if there's demand. If there's
demand, I can get these out.
Hats are coming soon.
Hats are coming soon. We've had embroidery samples in. We just gotta make them real now.
That's going to do it for us. The next time you will see us, it'll be post Christmas. So happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you all. Have a nice, safe, and happy week. It's a good time for everyone. We'll be back next week to talk some football after hopefully a Titans win over the Packers. That is a primetime game, 7:20 on NBC.
And by then we'll know if the Steelers beat the Colts or not. So that'll be potentially a division clinching win if the Steelers, who are bad, can beat the Colts next Sunday.
It's either going to be a very festive show or one that's going to involve heavy drinking.
Can I just say that I know next week is the New Year's show, but I would like to go ahead and make a New Year's resolution for the Titans and say, just be the next to worst third down defense of all time. Like, it don't have to be like the worst, just step it up one notch.
That's what I'm doing with our Broadway pick'em. I'm just trying to get out of last place to next to last place. I just don't
game at a
You're
time.
rolling right now. You're rolling.
Just don't want to be the worst person. That's going to do it for us today. BroadwaySportsMedia.com. You can check out more of what we write and record and listen to. If you stayed with us the whole time and thought, this is content I enjoy, you're going to enjoy more of it. If you listened to us the whole time and thought, these guys suck, I hate to tell you, it's a lot more of this over at the website. Either way, come check us out. We want you over there. BroadwaySportsMedia.com. Thank you for joining us. It's been Sunday Night Roundtable for Brian Watson, Zach Lyons, Justin Graver, Johnathan Boren, and me, Michael Gilliam, Mr. Lebowski. You're out.